o'clock in here says okay.
Sounds good to me.
I'm
That's what we
good.
do for a bid.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the 1,636th meeting of the Board of Trustees Metropolitan Sewer District. Could I get a motion to go into closed session to discuss legal, confidential, and privileged matters under 610.021?
So moved.
So moved.
Could I get a second?
Second.
All vote by the
All
easy
right,
sign?
well, we'll do a roll call vote.
Okay.
Ms. Fair?
Yes.
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
Mr. Singer?
Yes.
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Mr. Yates?
Yes.
All right, we're in closed session.
Give
All
us a
right.
few minutes to
Okay, do we get a motion to go from closed session to open session?
So moved.
Second?
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
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 All right, we're in open session.
Okay, could I get approval of the journal, the preceding meeting?
So moved.
So moved.
Second.
Second? Good. No comments by the chair? Reports of board committees, audit committee, trustee Fur?
Yes, hang on one moment. All right, the audit committee met at 7:30 a.m. on Tuesday, September 1st, 2020. In attendance were trustees Fair, Evans, Singer, Wilson, and Yates. The chairman had no introductory comments. The committee approved the minutes from the August 4th meeting. Next, internal audit presented a report for audit engagement that consisted of attack and penetration tests of district-managed network systems, which include internal networks, external networks, and external websites. All systems facing the internet were included in the engagement scope. The attacks were designed to simulate the techniques of real-world cyber attackers. The engagement received 3 separate opinions: unsatisfactory, satisfactory, and generally satisfactory for external testing, the external retesting, and the internal testing, respectively. The report contained 9 opportunities for improvement, which were presented to and discussed with the committee. The attack and penetration testing procedures were performed during parts of April, May, and June of 2020. During the presentation, questions were discussed and addressed as they were received from the committee. The meeting adjourned at approximately 8:00 a.m. The next meeting is tentatively scheduled for Tuesday, September 29th, 2020. This concludes the audit committee report.
Thank you, trustee Fur. Could we report of the program management meeting, trustee Evans?
Thank you. The Program Manager Committee met on September 1, 2020 at 8:03 a.m. The meeting was attended by trustees Evans, Yates, Wilson, and Fair, and Singer via online. The minutes of the August 4, 2020 meeting were approved. The agenda items to be introduced tonight were presented and discussed, including a detailed discussion regarding the following items. Ordinance number 15496, Lee Pump Station Sluice Gate Replacement. Staff discussed this unplanned supplemental appropriation to an existing project being constructed by KCI Construction. The funding is needed to provide an additional $350,000 for repair costs for damage caused during the January 18, 2020 rain event and power outage. Expedited repairs were needed to keep the pump station and treatment plant in regulatory compliance. Ordinance numbers 15497 and 15498. Staff provided details of 2 CSO volume reduction green infrastructure grants being awarded to reduce combined sewer overflows to the Mississippi River and River to Pear per the consent decree. Staff provided details of the grants being awarded to Preservation Square and Good Shepherd Infant and Toddler Center for the construction of volume-reducing bioretention basins and pervious pavements on the properties. Ordinance number 15503 and 15504, easement condemnation requests. Staff gave an update on the status of the easement acquisitions on 10 parcels of ground on 2 separate projects. Staff continues to coordinate with the property owners, but requests approval to move forward with condemnation in order to keep these 2 consent decree projects on schedule. Staff then presented details on 6 engineering design service contracts. All contracts provide engineering design or construction management services requiring for delivery of the consent decree program. 1 additional general services contract for water quality support provides staff with supplementary services in addressing regulatory and environmental issues. The next committee meeting is tentatively scheduled for September 29, 2020. The meeting was adjourned at 8:32 a.m.
Thank you very much, trustee Evans. Report of the finance, trustee Fur.
Yes, the Finance Committee met on September 1st, 2020 with trustees Fair, Yates, Wilson, Evans, and Singer in attendance. The minutes from the August 4th, 2020 meeting were approved. The first item on the agenda was a report by staff on the district's operating fund portfolio as of August 28th, 2020. Staff indicated that the portfolio is in compliance with the district's investment policy. Next on the agenda, Aon Hewitt Investment Consulting, Inc. discussed the second quarter plan performance related to the pension plan. Plan assets returned 12.7% in the second quarter, which outperformed the policy benchmark of 11.4%. Aon representatives also discussed the second quarter performance of the defined contribution and deferred compensation plans. The next item discussed on the agenda consisted of a staff request to exercise the second one-year renewal option of the contract with Aon Hewitt Investment Consulting, Inc. Aon will provide investment monitoring and consulting services for the district's defined benefit plan, deferred compensation plan, and defined contribution plan. This will be resolution number 3616 on tonight's agenda. Staff then presented the quarterly June 2020 Adjustment Review Committee report as required by ordinance. The meeting adjourned at 9:25 a.m. The next tentatively scheduled meeting is Tuesday, September 29th, 2020. This concludes the Finance Committee report.
Thank you very much. Next report from the Stakeholders Relations Committee. Trustee Wilson?
The Stakeholder Relations Committee meeting, board comments report, September 1st, 2020. Stakeholder Relations Committee met at district headquarters on Tuesday, September the 1st, 2020 at approximately 9:26 a.m. Those present at the meeting included Chairperson Wilson, Trustee Evans, Fair, and Yates, as well as district directors and staff, and participating by video web call was Trustee Singer. Chairperson Wilson called roll and had no further comments. By motion of all trustees, the minutes of the August 4th, 2020 Stakeholder Committee meeting minutes were approved. The first agenda item was a discussion by Tracy Coleman regarding 3 resolutions for contract renewals for the district group dental, group life and accidental death and dismemberment, and group long-term disability plans. These are resolution numbers 3613, 14, and 15 on tonight's agenda. The next agenda item was a presentation by Brett Berthel regarding the district's semi-annual regulatory compliance report. The presentation included a summary of various compliance reporting measures, including plant compliance, customer service, and metrics relating to the collection system. There's no board action required at this time. The next item was a Board of Trustee officer election update provided by Brian Holscher. As a result of Trustee Fall's appointment ending in August, there's a vacancy of the board's vice chair position. There will be an election at the October 2020 board meeting to fill this position for the 6-month period through March 2021. At the March 2021 board meeting, the positions of chairperson and vice chairperson will be voted on and an election made. There's no board action required at this time. By approval of all trustees, the committee then moved into closed session to discuss labor negotiations with employee groups under paragraph 610.021 parentheses 9 RSMO 1988 supplement. Roll call for closed session was taken at approximately 9:41 a.m. By consensus of all trustees, closed session concluded at approximately 10 a.m. and returned to open session. The meeting was adjourned at approximately 10 a.m. by Trustee Wilson. The next date is tentatively scheduled for Tuesday, September 29th, 2020. That concludes the
Thank you, Trustee Wilson. Comments from the public? I think we have a letter.
We did receive a comment that I will read. This comment comes from Josh Clauser, a business development specialist with HTS Coatings. And his submission reads, my comment involves circular economy, MSD, and Project Clear. I believe repairs, reconditioning of pump shafts, pump impellers, and housings through the process of thermal spray, and he's attached some photos, can not only save money, but also save these parts from ending up in a landfill. Has the board looked into this process or circular economy? And then I believe Brett is...
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, if our Director of Operations could respond to that.
Yes.
my area of responsibility, and I'll review his request and what he's asking and get back to them appropriately, and also report back to the board that we've addressed it.
Thank you very much, Brent. Okay, consent agenda.
All right, the consent agenda tonight is items 11 through 38. I do have a request to pull one item. It's number 32 for a separate vote. So before we do item 32, well, first, is there any board member who'd like to pull any other item for vote? Okay, so hearing none, we'll first take a motion on the adoption of items 11 through 31 and 33 through 38. Is there a motion for adoption?
So
So
moved.
moved. Second.
All right, thank you. Ms. Fair?
Yes.
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
Mr. Singer? Jim? Mr. Singer?
Oh, I'm sorry, yes, I was on mute.
Okay. Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Mr. Yates?
Yes.
All right, we'll move to item 32, which is the adoption of proposed ordinance number 15489, authorizing the district to enter into a professional services agreement with Ross and Barazini to provide power system studies for the district. Is there a motion for adoption?
So moved.
Second.
All right, thank you. Ms. Fair?
Abstain.
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
Mr. Singer?
Yes,
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Mr. Yates?
Yes.
All right, the motion is adopted. All right, we will then move to new business, starting with ordinances and item 39, which is the introduction of proposed ordinance number 15496, making a supplemental appropriation of $350,000 from the Sanitary Replacement Fund to be used for pump station improvements in the Lime 1 Pump Station sluice gate replacement project in the city of St. Louis, and authorizing the district to appropriate additional funds to a contract with KCI Construction Company. Is there a motion for introduction?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Ms. Fair?
Yes.
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
Mr. Singer?
yes,
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Mr. Yates?
Yes.
Item 40, the introduction of proposed ordinance number 15497, authorizing the district to enter into an agreement with Preservation Square 123 Landlord LLC for cost sharing for green infrastructure construction and the CSO volume reduction green infrastructure preservation Square Phase 1 project in the city of St. Louis. Is there a motion for introduction?
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Fair?
Yes.
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
Mr. Singer?
yes,
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Mr. Yates?
Yes.
Item 41 is the introduction of proposed ordinance number 15498, authorizing the district to enter into an agreement with the Favored Foundation for Strengthening Families for cost sharing for green infrastructure construction and the CSO volume reduction green infrastructure Good Shepherd Infant and Toddler Center project in the city of St. Louis. Is there a motion for introduction?
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Fair?
Yes.
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
Mr. Singer?
yes,
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Mr. Yates?
Yes.
Item 42, the introduction of proposed ordinance number 15499, appropriating $2,050,000 from the Sanitary Replacement Fund to be used for sanitary sewer rehabilitation and public I&I reduction in a Lime Public I&I Reduction Contract A project in the cities of Glendale, Kirkwood, Oakland, and Webster Groves in unincorporated St. Louis County, and authorizing the district to enter into a contract with SAK Construction. Is there a motion for introduction?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you.
Second.
Ms. Fair?
Yes.
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
Mr. Singer?
yes,
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Mr. Yates?
Yes.
Item 43, the introduction of proposed ordinance number 15500, appropriating $1.45 million from the Sanitary Replacement Fund to be used for sanitary sewer rehabilitation and public I&I reduction in the Valley Public I&I Reduction project in the cities of Ballard, Chesterfield, Clarkson Valley, and Ellisville, and authorizing the district to enter into a contract with SAK Construction. Is there a motion for introduction?
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Fair?
Yes.
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
Mr. Singer?
yes,
Mr. Williams?
Yes.
I'm sorry, Wilson? Mr.
Yes.
Yates?
Yes.
Item 44 is the introduction of proposed ordinance number 15501, appropriating $2.8 million from the Sanitary Replacement Fund to be used for sanitary sewer construction in West Lockwood Sanitary Relief Project in the city of Webster Groves, and authorizing the district to enter into a contract with Bates Utility Company. Is there a motion for introduction?
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Fair?
Yes.
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
Mr. Singer?
yes,
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Mr. Yates?
Yes.
Item 45, the introduction of proposed ordinance number 15502, appropriating $150,000 from the district-wide stormwater fund, excuse me, to be used for storm sewer construction in the Drury Switzer Storm Sewer Project in the city of St. Louis, and authorizing the district to enter into a contract with Understall Contracting. Is there a motion for introduction?
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Fair?
Yes.
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
Mr. Singer?
yes,
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Mr. Yates?
Yes.
Item 46, the introduction of proposed ordinance number 15503, declaring the necessity for the acquisition of easements and temporary easements and certain real property within the district for the purpose of construction of sewers and related appurtenances in the project known as White and Rosalie I&I Reduction and Bridgeport Sewer Separation in the city of Brentwood to serve the needs of residents of the area, and authorizing staff to proceed with further condemnation efforts related to the project. Is there a motion for introduction?
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Fair?
Yes.
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
Mr. Singer.
Yes.
Mr. Wilson.
Yes.
Mr. Yates.
Yes.
Item 47 is the introduction of proposed ordinance number 15504, declaring the necessity for the acquisition of easements and temporary easements and certain real property within the district for the purpose of construction of sewers and related appurtenances in the project known as Tulane-Wilbur Outfall Sanitary Relief Sewer in the village of Wilbur Park, to serve the needs of residents of the area and authorizing staff to proceed with further condemnation efforts related to the project. Is there a motion for introduction?
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Fair?
Yes.
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
Mr. Singer?
Yes.
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Mr. Yates?
Yes.
Item 48 is the introduction of proposed ordinance number 15505, making a supplemental appropriation of $3.125 million from the Sanitary Replacement Fund to be used for design in the Bissell and Lime wastewater treatment facility fluidized bed incinerators project in the city of St. Louis and unincorporated St. Louis County, and authorizing the district to amend a contract with Black & Veatch. Is there a motion for introduction?
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Fair?
Yes.
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
Mr. Singer?
Yes.
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Mr. Yates?
Yes.
Item 49 is the introduction of proposed ordinance number 15506, making a supplemental appropriation of $3 million from the Sanitary Replacement Fund to be used for general construction management services and the General Services Agreement Construction Management Project at various locations within the district, and authorizing the district to amend a contract with KAI 360 Construction Services. Is there a motion for introduction?
So move.
Second.
Ms. Fair?
Yes.
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
Mr. Singer?
Yes.
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Mr. Yates?
Yes.
Item 50, the introduction of proposed ordinance number 15507, appropriating $2.268 million from the Sanitary Replacement Fund to be used for design in the Spirit 2 Force Main Improvements Project in the city of Chesterfield, and authorizing the district to enter into a contract with M3 Engineering Group. Is there a motion for introduction?
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Fair?
Yes.
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
Mr. Singer?
Yes.
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Mr. Yates?
Yes.
Item 51 is the introduction of proposed ordinance number 15508, excuse me, appropriating $1.585 million from the Sanitary Replacement Fund to be used for design of sanitary sewers in the TM01, 2 Mile Creek Outfall Sanitary Relief Project in the cities of Huntley and Ladue, and authorizing the district to enter into a contract with Gonzalez Companies. Is there a motion for introduction?
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Fair?
Yes.
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
Mr. Singer?
Yes.
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Mr. Yates?
Yes.
Item 52 is the introduction of proposed ordinance number 15509, appropriating $1.46 million from the Sanitary Replacement Fund to be used for design in the Upper Matisse Trunk Sanitary Relief Project in the city of Sunset Hills and unincorporated St. Louis County, and authorizing the district to enter into a contract with Crawford Murphy and Tilly. Is there a motion for introduction?
So move.
Second.
Ms. Fair?
Yes.
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
Mr. Singer?
Yes.
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Mr. Yates?
Yes.
Item 53 is the introduction of proposed ordinance number 15510, appropriating $1.5 million from the general fund to be used for planning, design, and engineering during construction phase services in the wet weather optimization study project in various locations within the district, and authorizing the district to enter into a contract with Jacobs Engineering Group. Is there a motion for introduction?
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Fair?
Yes.
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
Mr. Singer?
Yes.
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Mr. Yates?
Yes.
Item 54 is the introduction of proposed ordinance number 15511, appropriating $100,000 from the Stormwater Regulatory Fund to be used for water quality and environmental regulatory support in the General Services Agreement Water Quality Support Services project in various locations within the district, and authorizing the district to enter into a contract with HDR Engineering. Is there a motion for introduction?
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Fair?
Yes.
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
Mr. Singer?
Yes.
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Mr. Yates?
Yes.
All right, we'll move to resolutions. Item 55 is the adoption of Resolution 3612, expressing the Board of Trustees' appreciation to Uranus C. Ballard for her 23 years of exemplary service to the district from July 9th, 1997 to her retirement effective September 1st, 2020. Is there a motion for adoption?
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Fair?
Yes.
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
Mr. Singer?
Yes.
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Mr. Yates?
Yes.
Item 56 is the adoption of Resolution Number 3613 to exercise option year 2 of a contract previously authorized by Ordinance 15075, adopted December 13, 2018, that authorized the district to enter into a contract with Cigna Healthcare to provide the district's dental benefits for the district employees and family members. Is there a motion for adoption?
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Fair?
Yes.
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
Mr. Singer?
Yes.
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Mr. Yates?
Yes.
Item 57 is the adoption of Resolution 3614 to exercise option year 2 of a contract previously authorized by Ordinance 15076, adopted December 13, 2018, that authorized the district to enter into a contract with Cigna Healthcare to provide the district's employee group life and accidental death and dismemberment insurance. Is there a motion for adoption?
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Fair?
Yes.
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
Mr. Singer?
Yes.
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Mr. Yates?
Yes.
Item 58 is the adoption of Resolution 3615 to exercise option year 1 of a contract previously authorized by Ordinance 15283, adopted October 10, 2019, that authorized the district to enter into a contract with Lincoln Financial Liberty Mutual to provide the district's long-term disability insurance for district employees. Is there a motion for adoption?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Ms. Fair?
Yes.
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
Mr. Singer?
yes,
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Mr. Yates?
Yes.
And item 59, the adoption of Resolution 3616 to exercise option year 2 of a contract previously authorized by Ordinance 15006, adopted August 13, 2018, that authorized the district to enter into a contract with Aon Hewitt Investment Consulting to provide investment advisory services for the district's defined benefit plan, deferred compensation plan, and defined contribution plan. Is there a motion for adoption?
So moved.
so moved,
Thank you. Ms. Fair?
Yes.
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
Mr. Singer?
yes,
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Mr. Yates?
Yes.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chair. I don't think we have any other business to bring before the board tonight. Oh, I apologize.
Yes, I just wanted to inform the board. I think Brian has sent this out in a communication, but we will need a special board meeting on the 29th of this month for consideration of our final tax rates. The board approves as part of its budget, as part of our budget, preliminary tax rates, and then we get additional information in September that we use to recalculate the final rates. And it's customary that we have a special board meeting to approve those final rates.
Thank you. That it?
That is.
Could I have a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you very much. Meeting adjourned.
thank you.